Everybody, thank you so much. This is the Doctor's Corner, guys. This is going to be a special edition. So, first and foremost, let me explain to you. My name is Dr. John Oda. Thank you so much for joining me. If it's day, evening, afternoon, midnight, you're listening to me on whatever. Thank you for taking time for this. Right. So, this is what I call is going to be a special Wednesday for me. And every Wednesday, I'm going to do more of case study. People write in, people tell me what they want, or I see people at the gym, they ask me questions. So what I decided to do, opposed to answer the questions, which I do, I'm going to now give a brief podcast about that, right? Because I think that, yes, we can have parenting. I do have a parenting book, but I consider my book more of a communication book. Everybody have different parenting styles. So my goal and my job is not to tell you, okay, this is the right way to raise your kid or X, Y, and Z. It's all about finding ways to communicate with your style is with the kid, right? So today I'm gonna do more of like a case study type of thing. Somebody wrote in on Thursday. I'm going to do another one, and it's going to be a special one as well. I'm trying to do more team programs so let me give you some background. I started in the mental health field back in 1987. I worked in Michigan City, Indiana, Kingwood Hospital for years and different hospitals throughout my career. So I've been full-time in the field for about 23 years. Clinical. Doing clinical, working with parents and teams. That's working with adolescents, and of course the parents would come in. Kingwood, we had a residential program. This was really cool. We had some of the toughest kids in Chicago come to the hospital. And I've never seen any kids that tough in my life, but it taught us how to actually work with everybody. And so I thank my mentor for bringing the kids in, Carl Scott. We now work together again. We're doing parenting and teen as programs, doing similar and workshops probably at a city near you. So and I'm pretty jazzed based on that. But I have tons of experience working with parents and teens. I've seen everything, done everything. We worked on 2 residential programs that was super successful. One in Michigan City, Indiana. One again is in Forest Park, Illinois, and success has been all the way. Had a private practice. Worked with them. So when I had my private practice, I did traditional counseling, which I did, but I did more of seminars and workshops because I think that if you immerse a kid in the program, that's when change takes place. Having them go to a traditional therapy session, they see them for 55 minutes and they get inside the stuff and then they leave. If you want to gain the trust working with the teams so they can actually make a shift and then they can break through and then make a change. Also work for parenting programs as well. That's why I came up with my book, Connecting with Your Teen. This day and age, everything have completely changed. I should probably update that book, and probably I will. To more of the social media and the bullying and everything else that's going on that parents have to face. As a parent, if you're a parent, foster parent, niece, uncle, grandparent, I say first and foremost, God bless you. Things have changed so much that when I was doing it years ago, nothing have changed except for the social media part of it. And now we have kids access to different crazy sites that they can get on. So this session is going to be a little bit fun, as well as this are one of my fun ones right now. Right. So let me give you one. So I had a person at the gym, right? And the person is at the gym. He told me that he asked me a question, and of course I gave him the feedback. He says, okay, so the person at the gym, he's a Caucasian, and he says that he got a 17-year-old son, and his son is dating a black woman, a black little girl around the same age. But he says, he says I'm from LA. He says he's from Irvine, California. He says he says I don't approve of my son dating a black person at all. He says, John, I like you. You're a nice guy, but I wouldn't want my daughter to date anybody that's black. Um, but he says my son liked this girl a lot. They're talking on the phone. She comes by. She's nice. She's polite. But he says, that she's black. And he says, I don't think I'm racist by saying that. And he says, well, John, he said, well, what do you think? And so when I told him, I said, thank you so much for trusting me enough to talk to you, right? Because if you ever go to my gym at 24-hour fitness, right in the marketplace, I literally know everybody. I have literally full conversations. I stand there for 3 hours, work out for 2, in about an hour, about 30 minutes or 40 minutes. I literally do sessions, talk to people and everything else. So I have lots of different stories that I'm going to actually share with you guys because I had to have them have a breakthrough, right? So here's what I told them. I said, I understand that you don't want your kid to date a black girl. That's a choice. I said, but here's the biggest challenge in what you're going to have. First, you're going to have resentment. It's with your son to you as well as the wifey. Second, if that's going to be your stand, you need to explain to him why. So I said, is it okay for him to date an Asian girl? Is it okay for him to date a Latino woman? Is that okay with you? And he said, well, John, they're not that bad, but not a black person. I said, interesting. I said, so you don't want him to date a black person, but you're talking to me, right? And then he said, well, if you had a daughter, I said, if I had a daughter, to be honest with you, I would just want her to date a nice person. I don't care if he's black, white, blue, green, or polka dot, just a nice person, right? Because here's the challenge that I explained to him. If you're going to focus strictly on a Pacific race, that he can date an Asian woman, he can date a Latino woman, he can date any other woman, but not a black woman. It appears, I said only appears, that you're racist toward that race. I said, you are the parent. If that's what you feel that you need to do, well, then you have to do it. But here's going to be the challenges. You're going to have resentment with the kid. The kid's going to resent you. And then I asked him, I have a question. I said, what does her father do for a living? He said, well, the dad's a lawyer and the mom's a doctor. Come from a really good family. Okay, so the black girl family come from a great family, and you got a great family. I said, so what's the difference? He says, when I grew up, black and white does not mix. Blacks stay with blacks, whites stay with whites, and that's the way that it should be. You grew up in the South. I said, okay, I can respect that. I said, but you live in LA right now. And I said, but you didn't mind your son going out with an Asian woman or a Latino woman or any other race but not black. I said, it sounds like, it's more of a black thing or a racist thing as compared to what you're saying. So I'm not trying to call you racist at all, but she come from a great family. She have a great head. It's on her shoulders, and you're telling her that she can. You're telling him that he can't because of her race. So what I told him, I said, here's what I would do if I was you. I would tell you to seek some counseling, talk to your pastor as a family, and figure out how you can work things out. I says, now, if you come to me, I have a different strategy based on everything else. I said, do you want me to share? He said, yeah. I would explain to her, I'd have a family session with everybody. And here's what I figure out is, how were you guys born? How you guys grew up? Explain to them how you're growing up, and then maybe he can understand you a whole lot better. If you can tell them a story of the reasons, just how you're growing up, because you said in the South that never happened. Blacks and white, it never mixed back in your days. I get it. I said it, and then I said I can respect it. I said because you're 70 years old. I get that, but your wife is in her 40s, so there's a big age gap, and your daughter's only 17. So maybe if you explain to your son is 17, maybe if you explain to your son what happened, how you grew up, how you see things, and maybe he can understand you a whole lot better. I said, but at the end of the day, here's what you have to decide. Do you want to be right with your own rules, being 70 years young? You married a 40-year-old woman. She have a 17-year-old. You have a 17-year-old kid. Is that gonna make your son grow? And only you can decide that. So the question that I have is for you guys. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you think that's the right strategy for him to say that he can't date a black woman, but he can date an Asian woman, a Latino woman, and everybody else? What do you guys think as parents? And as parents, if this would come to you, what would you do? Like, is what you say, listen to me. If the kid comes from a great family or X, Y, and Z, it doesn't make a difference. Because that's how I was raised, right? But everybody's raised completely different. So I'm not telling you guys what to do. But then again, though, if you're going to bombard this, you know they're going to sneak around. You know they're going to see one another. You know there's going to be some resentment. So as a parent, right? And here's the question I have. As a parent, what would you do? As a parent, what would your strategy be based on that? That's my question for you guys. And I have one more now. Here's a fun one, right? So this one that I had, oh my gosh. This was another person at the gym. And here is, and she was telling me what was going on, right? Because she was acting a little bit strange. I said, my dear, what's going on? And so she said, this is actually what's taking place, which is really strange. But she says that she have an 18-year-old son. He has a 4.0 GPA. He hasn't applied to college, and everyone's pressuring him to get started right now. My son tells me that he don't want to go to college. What should I do? Wow. What should she do? So here's what I told her. I said, okay, your son got a 4.0 GPA. I said, first and foremost, congratulations based on all that. That's impressive. He don't want to go. He don't want to go to college. Great. I said, what does he want to do instead? Does he have a tech job? Does he have something, an invention? I mean, what does he want to actually get done? What's taking place? Right? And she says, he does deal with tech stuff and X, Y, and Z, and he's pretty good at, technology and everything else. Okay, great. I said, so here's what I have a question for. If he doesn't go to college, is he going to stay at home? I said, because when I was growing up, right, when I got 18, when I graduated college, my dad said I had three choices. I can go to the armed forces. I can work a job, and I worked in Indiana, so we had the mills, or I can go to college. And of course, guys, I'm not sure. I'll tell you, I knew I was going to work for the rest of my life, so that mill stuff was not going to really take place. Then the military was not taking place, and I didn't have the right attitude to do what people told me what to do. And then my dad said that, even like my dad said, if I stay at home, right, living with him, I have to go to college. Because he said he don't want to be around a dumb person. It was harsh what he said, but now, being 58 years young, I agree with him 100%, right? So what do you actually do? So here's what I told her that says you need to have a come to Jesus talk with your son. And this is what you tell him up front. So here's what you break it down to. You say, okay, so since you don't want to just go to college, I can respect that. That's not a problem. A lot of people, Bill Gates, a lot of them, they didn't go to college. They went for 1 or 2 years and then they dropped off and then became multi-billionaires. But those are like 1 in a trillion that can actually get that stuff I said, okay. I said, so let's break this down. I said it now, when you graduate from high school, and if, and then if you're not going to college, I says, but it has to be with the mom and dad. You guys have to both agree with it. It's called tough love now. You have to put down a standard that says, if you don't go to college, then you have to get out of my house. And I know, guys, you guys are probably saying, oh my God, that is the most rudest thing anybody can say. There is a strategy based on that, right? I said, so now just say that if you want to get out of my house, no big deal, you have to have your own apartment, buy your food, do all the lights, gas, everything else, right? You have to do everything, right? So let's say you find a job, right? And you find a job, and what's the minimum wage right now in California? If I'm not mistaken, guys, let's say it is $16 per 16 bucks, right? So then 16 times 40, that's $640. So you get about $2,500 per week. Hearsay. That's gross, right? So an apartment in Irvine, California, right now is going between one bedroom's going to from $2,800 to two bedrooms going to $4,500, right? So based on what he have, if he's working for 16 bucks for 40 hours, it won't even pay for rent. It won't pay for food or car insurance or a car payment. So how could he actually survive? Then he need to have health insurance. I mean, he need to have a lot of different stuff. And once you guys draw everything out, and then what you tell them, say, okay, here is your way. You work, you X, Y, and Z. And even if you get a room here, just say he gets a room at somebody else's house. That's $1,000. He grossed $2,500. He probably bring home, just say 2,000. 1,000 right now is about, for a room is 1,200 to 1,500. Let's say $1,200. $800 of that he have. That's for food, for car insurance, and for car payment. Right? So what I do is I'll draw everything out. Here's what you can do if you work on your own. Or here's what you can do if you go to college. Or here's what you do when you go to the military. What do you want to do? Right? And have him pick. The outcome is for him to reconsider going back to college. If going to college, he got a 4.0. Because he's going to work the rest of his life. That's just the whole goal. You're going to work for the rest of your life, right? And I even had family members, love them to death, smart kids. They didn't want to go to college, and they took the hardest route, which was working route. They had a job. They worked 40 hours. They're not making any money. They look at me, Unc, I think I messed up. I said, you just took the hardest route. I'm not sure if you're messing up or not, but you took the hardest route. He said, man, after I pay rent and everything else, he said, I have no money. I said, no. So here it goes, guys. The outcome is when you have, I'm not preaching, I'm preaching to the choir now. The outcome for your kids, right, is to have them have options. When they get past 18, now you can't tell them. But my dad, he gave me an option. Either I work, which was not going to happen, go to the military or go to college. College to me was the best choice ever, right? And figure out, okay, if you don't want to go to college, why not? What's holding them back? It could be some fear now and again, right? So you get more into what is taking place. If you lay it out the way that I laid it out, the outcome will be amazing. So every Wednesday, I'm going to do case studies. Case studies, what I got from the gym, if I got with X, Y, and Z, if I read something that I think it's going to be actually helpful for parents, absolutely, right? Because the number one outcome and goal, right, is to give you guys some tools. I can give you a great podcast and X, Y, and Z. And if you have any questions for me, right, email me. That's the great email address is John, J-O-H-N, at drjohnoda.net. Write me about what's going on. I won't mention your name unless you want me to, but I will break down what you need to do to have either your adolescents, your preteens, even parenting stuff, whatever that it takes place. Number one goal is to help you guys in the highest way, right? Guys, if you need someone to help you guys out even more further, I am accepting clients. In 2023, I decided to start accepting clients and actually working with people more and more. We have so much stuff going on, good, bad, as well as the ugly. My number one goal is to serve parents in the highest way. All right, guys, take care and always as God bless. My website is www.drjohnoda.com, and you guys can see my parenting team as programs. Until next time, take care and always God bless. Bye for now.